There's a method you can use to play chords instinctively and be able to just flow when you play on the keys. So if you've tried to play chord progressions before and finding the individual chords is just really tedious and takes time, then you should absolutely use this method. Now, we're in the key of E major for this video. Not a key we've explored too much, but like a lovely key. Now, let's say you want to play a new song in the key of E, and it's new to you, you've never played in the key of E major, you're like wondering, how do I learn the chords? And so let's get into that for this video. First thing you have to do is to figure out which notes are in the key of E major. So that means we're going to play the scale. Now the notes of E major are E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. And the fingering we use is quite simple because it's the same we do for C major. So we play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now for the left hand, we start on 5, then switch to your third finger. And so the first thing I would recommend you do to really get comfortable with these notes and with the key of E major is to try and learn the scale with both hands. Now, it's really necessary to be able to know these notes of the scale we're trying to play in. Again, if you don't want to learn the scale with both hands like this, that's totally fine, and you don't have to, in fact, to learn a chord progression, but it really helps from my experience. So if you have the time and dedication, then you can learn the scale with both hands like this. So you know the notes of E major, you know there's the 4 sharps in there, and now let's try and build our first chord in E major. Of course, the first one is going to be the E major triad, which sounds like this. So the rule is very simple. We take one note from the scale, starting on the E, then we use one note from the scale and leave it out, which will be the F sharp, play the next note from the scale, leave out the next note of the scale, the A, and then again play the next note from the scale. So you notice we have one note from the scale in between the notes we play. And this rule holds true for all of the chords of E major. So when we shift to the next chord, for example, we want to build a chord on the second key of the E major scale now, we just do the same thing. We leave out one, play one, leave out one, the B, and play the C sharp. And that will be an F sharp minor chord. So again, go back to E major and to F sharp minor. Now this is one way you can build the chords, which is to always shift, to always look at the individual like spacings in between. And it's kind of a tedious process. It takes some time to always figure out, okay, one, leave one, play one, and so on. And then we get the chord. But the faster method would be to just shift each note within the scale. So again, starting from E major, we can think, okay, this note goes here, this note goes here, and this note goes here. And then you can kind of and try visualize this shape already. So we're going to play this chord, and now just move your hand there. And this makes it really fast to switch between the chords. So now try to play all of the chords of the E major scale. Great, so now you technically know all of the chords of the E major scale and you're able to play along to songs. But of course we don't want to just play our right hand triads. We want to first of all add the left hand. So this is where our fingerings from the scale comes in, because they make it just easier to know where your hand is without looking at the notes all the time. And now for the next step, we want to really get into the practice of chords. So when we play a chord like this, we want to be able to play it without thinking. We don't want to focus on the individual notes each time, but just be able to play the chord. So how do we do that? And I've developed a great method for this. It's called say and play. Now you just play the chord with the bass in the left hand. And then as you press them, you just say the name of the chord. So that would be E major. And then move to the next chord. F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, C sharp minor, D sharp diminished, and E major. Now, I want you to really take your time and do this like really diligently. So really go, okay, press them at the same time and then say E major. Because with all of my students so far, I teach piano lessons where I live and online. This method has worked wonders, and all of them have been able to really quickly go into playing songs freely without thinking about the chords that they're playing. So really take your time with this method. It's worth it. It works great if you want to learn these chords. So the next step, because we don't always want to play the triads like this, we want to use inversions as well. So what are inversions? Inversions are taking the lowest note and moving it up. So the E goes here, and then we play these with our right hand. And so it's still an E major chord because we have all of the notes of E major, but it's in first inversion. Now if we add the left hand, that's again E major. And so I want you to continue, do the same exercise as from before with the first inversion. So you would still go E major, F sharp minor, and really now this is where the magic happens, because now our brain doesn't just think, okay, E major always has to be this, but E major can also be this, and E major for the second inversion then can also be this. So again, you would go E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A minor, with all of the chords of first and second inversion. And now you have these options all connected in your brain to E major. Now when you read E major on a chord sheet, you suddenly have all of these options available. And this is really when your chord playing starts to become free and fluent, because now you can put these inversions together in a progression, for example, like Now, if all of this was still a bit fast and the chords still don't really click for you and you need more exercise and lessons on that, then you should watch my free courses I've made on chord playing. It's called Chord Mastery. There's also an improvisation course if you're into that. It's all free to watch if you click the link in the video description or in the pinned comment. And I'll see you guys again in the next lesson.